When we think of Kyoto, we picture serene temples, geishas and Gion, a kind of timeless beauty, right? But what if I told you that underneath all of that, there's a secret blueprint, an ancient design that has shaped this city for more than 1,000 years?
And yeah, you read that right. This isn't a line from some fantasy epic. It's literal truth. The original plan for Kyoto was an incredible piece of spiritual engineering built specifically to protect its people from unseen forces.
You see a picture like this, and it just takes your breath away. It's the Kyoto the whole world knows and loves. But this calm, this beauty, it's not an accident. It's the result of a really deep, intentional design that links its ancient spiritual beliefs to the very real challenges it's facing today.
And that feeling, that sense of stepping back in time, that's what brings millions of people here. But to really get what Kyoto is all about, we've got to look past this beautiful surface and dig into the foundations it was built on.
So first things first, you have to appreciate the sheer weight of its history. Kyoto wasn't just any old capital. For a very, very long time, it was the capital.
Let's just run through this real quick. Founded way back in 794, it was the home of the emperors for over 1,000 years. It survived devastating wars, and get this, it even thrived as a cultural powerhouse after the political capital moved to modern-day Tokyo. This place isn't just a city, it's practically a living museum of Japanese history.
Okay, and this brings us to the real heart of it. The city's unique character comes from two incredibly powerful ideas that were baked right into its original design. One is spiritual, and the other is social.
So let's start with the spiritual side. Following ancient Chinese beliefs, the northeast was seen as the demon's gate, the kimono. This was the unlucky direction where evil spirits and all sorts of negative energy could just flow right into the city. So the big question was, how on earth do you protect an entire capital from demons?
And this is where it gets really brilliant. The city planners didn't just cross their fingers. They physically and strategically placed the new capital so that Mount Hiei stood directly to the northeast. Then they built powerful temples on that mountain to act as spiritual guardians, basically sealing the demon's gate shut. It's incredible, like spiritual architecture on a massive, citywide scale.
Okay, so if principle number 1 was about spiritual protection, principle number 2 was all about social strength. The city wasn't designed to be one huge anonymous sprawl. Instead, it was designed as a collection of machi. Think of them as little self-governing neighborhoods, almost like a cluster of villages, each with its own unique vibe and community.
And you can absolutely still feel that today. When you walk through Kyoto, it doesn't feel like you're in a giant metropolis. It feels like you're moving through a series of cozy, human-scale communities. That machi idea created this amazing local bond, and a texture to the city that has survived for centuries. Honestly, it's the secret to its charm.
But here's the twist. This carefully balanced design, this spiritual and social harmony, is now facing a modern threat it was never built to handle: its own incredible popularity.
I mean, just look at that number. 43 million visitors in 1 year. The sheer volume of people flocking to see Kyoto's beauty is putting an unbelievable strain on the city.
And the consequences are, well, pretty much what you'd expect. The buses are packed, residents are dealing with constant noise and disruption, and the boom in short-term rentals is starting to break down that tight-knit community feel of the machi. You could almost say overtourism is like a new kind of negative energy, threatening the city's balance.
So, what does a city like this do? How does it protect itself? Well, believe it or not, just like it did 1,000 years ago, it's looking for answers in its own original design.
The goal here isn't to build walls and keep everyone out. No way. It's about finding a new kind of harmony, about managing this incredible flow of energy in a way that protects the city's soul. It's a strategy of balance, not exclusion.
To do this, they've brought back an old idea, but with a modern spin. It's called machizukuri, which literally means community building. It's an approach that empowers residents to get involved and improve their own neighborhoods. It's the old spirit of the self-governing machi being used to solve 21st century problems.
And that community spirit is fueling this really clever citywide strategy. Instead of just letting huge crowds swamp the famous spots, the city is actively trying to spread people out. They're dispersing them across space by promoting hidden gems, across seasons by encouraging travel in winter and summer, and even across time by showing off sights in the early morning and at night. It's just a really elegant way to manage the flow.
So when you boil it all down, the thinking today is exactly the same as it was centuries ago. Back then, the threat was spiritual, demons from the northeast. The solution was strategic placement and spiritual guardians.
Today, the threat is the overwhelming energy of overtourism, and the solution is, once again, strategic. Manage and disperse that energy to keep the city in harmony.
What Kyoto teaches us is that the strongest cities are the ones that really understand their own DNA, their own hidden blueprint. It's a design that can be adapted over centuries to face all kinds of new demons. And that leaves us with a pretty cool question to think about. What are the invisible forces that shaped your own city, and how could they be used to build its future?